Welcome to our QPR Preview Show ahead of the trip to East Anglia to face struggling Norwich City. After the hugely entertaining match against Hull City on Saturday, the match against Blackburn was much more your normal championship fare, but it yielded the same outcome, 3 points for QPR, this time sealed with a Paul Smith winner. It was a great away win, Dave.
Yeah, really good win, similar in a lot of ways to the Swansea win, quite hard fought. They had to dig in and try and get something, but I thought they deserved it. I thought first 10, 15 minutes we looked quite bright. I thought that the three attacking midfield players, Dembele, Chair and Saito all kind of combined well and we looked quite good. The injury to Hamer, I thought, kind of slowed us down a little bit. It kind of took the momentum out of us, and it was a bit of a slog after that. But they kept going. Blackburn obviously had chances second half. I thought it was a great save from Nardi. There was one of them, and Phil did a really good clearance. What the frustrating bit was, again, that final ball. There was a couple of instances in the game. I think Sato in the second half. Can't remember. There was one in the first half as well. But it's just a simple pass along the 6 yard line is a tap in for someone. But they went for the shots instead, and they did it at the weekend as well. If they can just get that right, they're going to be winning games a lot easier. But hell of a cameo from Paul Smith as well, wasn't it? Score with a head. I mean, another header from him. I saw a couple of headers he scored now this season, and his introduction really changed the game. And after all doom and gloom a week ago, it all looks good now, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right as well. It was similar performance to Swansea, and then Paul Smith's header was very similar to his winner at Bristol City, just from the
Yeah.
other side. Yeah, I agree. He was superb when he came on. He could have had a wonder goal if that volley hadn't been blocked. He was
Mm.
just chasing all energy, and he played a big part in us seeing out the game at the end as well. And we're back in the top half, only 2 points outside the top six. Actually, only 3 points off Millwall in fourth, such is the madness of the league. So yeah, brilliant win, brilliant week for QPR. I thought the same about the match. We started well, lost our momentum when Ben Hamer went off injured. Two big kind of moments was in Gun Johnson. He had that first half chance that he kind of didn't catch it right. That was a big let off. And then that Nardi save. Getting through those two moments, our subs then, like you said, helped us get back on top and find the winner. Who were the standout players for you other than Paul Smith?
I thought I didn't think anyone was outstanding in the game. I thought they did well. I thought Steve Cook had a good game at centre half. He read the game well and did all right. Sam Field again at left back. I think that's 3 games at left back, 3 clean sheets. So he's doing something right there. I thought he was good again. Like I said, I didn't think anyone was outstanding. They all just did a decent job. They did enough. Saturday's game was a lot more spectacular and attacking when it was a lot more exciting to watch. But these are the games, that you still only get 3 points of playing out of the weekend. You got the same tonight. They've dug in, and you couldn't fault anything with him. I thought Nardi was under a fair bit of pressure coming on. I think he looked done and dusted, didn't he, the other week? But he's come on and done a pretty good job for the team again.
Yeah, I think it's been a good week in the fact that it showed the two sides that we have in the side. We got a very good away championship performance where we've had to dig in
Mm.
and be gritty. On Saturday, it was all swashbuckling, attacking 26 shots, but it means it's like you say, back to back clean sheets away from home. Sam Field, I think we found his new position at left back.
Yeah.
And the whole defense was so good. And Benge, again, really powerful at right back. He really helps us get up the pitch, which I think is one of the main benefits of putting him at right back. Helps us push up. I loved a bits of the match where he had like Nicholas Madsen. He blocked a free kick and he starts cheering. And
Yeah.
Jimmy Dunn at the end going over to praise Paul Smith for winning. It meant a lot to the players, and that's what you want to see, that great togetherness on display. There's a lot to like about what we're seeing this week, and it's given ourselves a platform again to start looking up the table. Going to give a quick shout out to Paul, who I saw on the train on the way to Hull on Saturday, and he said we'd win both games. I didn't believe him, but he was right, and I'm sure we're all very much happy that he was right. But a little bit of a downer this week off the pitch for QPR, because before we get on to Norwich, we should touch on the news that Paul Furlong is set to lead the club. What did you make of that news, Dave?
Yeah, it's a real shame, really. I think he's definitely a club legend. I think you think what he done as a player, the way he turned everything around, and he was just brilliant for us for a few years. But as a coach, he's been there a long time. He's worked all through the club at different age levels. He's done a great job winning the cup against Brentford last season. You just think it seems a really odd decision to let him go. I suppose we'll find out eventually the why they've done it. It feels a bit to me like when Les Ferdinand first come in and he wanted to bring his own people in and uh, run the academy his way. they got rid of Steve Gallen, and you know, at the time you thought you could, it was kind of understandable, but I think with hindsight, you look back and go, that was a mistake. That was a guy who knew the club well. He had he had the club's DNA in him, if that's a phrase. But I think Furlong's similar, and I do wonder if we might regret this going forward. Um, Overall, it's just sad. It's just someone, you really want to see associated with the club, Paul Furlong. He was being touted for the manager's job a couple of months ago, and now he's not going to be here anymore. It just seems a really, really disappointing thing to do.
Yeah, it seems to me like it's a change for the sake of it. At this stage of the season as well, a big success story for QPR in the last 12 months has been the youth side. So
Mm.
why make such a drastic change heading into the winter? It's just an odd timing for me. And it comes down to why not just wait until the end of the season? But I agree, ultimately, he's not a Christian Noy person. He clearly only wants his people around him as time goes on. And speaking of youth, I know we're having a better season. We're playing, though I don't feel any of the younger players as many as we should be. We brought Julian Stefan in. One of the main things they put about was that he'd worked with young players before. We've got Tylon Smith up for Young African Player of the Year. Daniel Benny did superbly at the Australia at the Under 20 World Cup. We're not seeing them involved, though, are we? Is that somewhere where we need to improve in the second half of the season?
I think that's just a thing we do at the club. You can go back years. We've talked and talked for 10 years about we're a development club. We're going to give people opportunities, but we don't really do it. We kind of do it in fits and starts. You go back years when Les Ferdinand was there, and they would like leave Ryan Manning out for months on end, Bright Surrey Samuel, those sort of players. They wouldn't really give them a run in the side until when they eventually did, they were at the end of their contracts and we lost them. And it kind of feels similar here. You look at like Ryan Coley, Kieran Morgan. You think they should be, if they're not going to be playing a lot more for the first team, they should be being loaned out to help their development and get regular football. It's yeah, it's been one downside of the season. I think we're having a good season, and there's a lot of positives to say about where we're going, and you can kind of see why Julian Stefan's picking the teams he is. He's trying to win the game in front of him. He's not going to be here for a lot of these players coming good, is he? To be honest, but it is a shame we're not seeing more of these youngsters, and maybe we will as the season wears on. Maybe we'll see more second half of the season.
Yeah, I think it's a problem for all teams and all the managers that results come first, don't they? And it's a problem for
Yeah.
everyone. We saw Escudino at the start of the season, but he's not even really been on the bench recently either. Morgan and Coley, they're only getting 20 minutes here and there. Daniel Benny at best is warming the bench. We saw more of all of them last season. So I agree with you. I think if this period now we can establish ourselves in mid-table, it frees up the chance to give them a bit more game time, and we need to
Yeah.
because the club preached to us that the blueprint is that they've gone heavy in bringing in players for the development squad, but they need to be given a chance in the first team. And it just seems a bit odd that there's that disconnect again at the moment. And we'll see whether Paul Furlong's departure's got anything to do with it. I'm sure we'll find out, like you said, as time goes on. Let us know your thoughts on Paul Furlong leaving and the youth players getting their chances in the comments. And it's on to Norwich for the first team. And depending on which way you look at it, we're either unbeaten in the last 3 games against Norwich, or we've only won one of the last 11. But either way, the ominous stat is that we haven't won at Norwich since 2008. That's 10 winless trips in a row over 17 years. This season, though, really, really struggling. Norwich, 23rd, just 2 wins so far. They lost 10 of their 15 games under Liam Manning. He kind of had to go in the end. Are you surprised, though, how badly it did go for him there?
Yeah, definitely, because he's done a good job pretty much everywhere he's been, Liam Manning. He was really good at Bristol City last year. They got in the playoffs. And you kind of thought he'd build on it. And Norwich, they weren't that bad last season. I thought they'd do pretty well. I didn't think they'd be like playoff team. I thought they'd be in the top half and doing okay. But yeah, they've had a shocking start. They had to change it really. Just wasn't working at all, was it? To be still in the bottom three at this stage, and they're not playing well at all. I've seen them a few times that they're really out of form and not playing well at all. So it it definitely needed a change, and you'd think it's been done early enough that they'll get out of it. They've got enough good players to get out of the position they're in, but it must be worrying for them in a minute.
Yeah, I'm really surprised how much it went badly for him. He must have believed himself going there that he could achieve something because otherwise, why move? Because he had a safe job at Bristol
Yeah.
City. So, yeah, for it to go so catastrophically bad is an odd one. Sadly for QPR, they've obviously sacked him before our match. We may have been better playing them a few weeks ago when it was toxic. I was reading about security guards having to escort their players out of the ground and the board having to stay in the ground to avoid protesters. So yeah, maybe we're just coming to there now at the wrong time. Looking at his replacement, they were linked with Gary O'Neill, John Dahl Thomason, but in the end it was Philip Clement, previously of Rangers, before that Monaco and Club Brugge. Comes with a decent CV, Dave. Again, he must believe in something that he's seen there to take the job.
Yeah, he wasn't someone I thought would get the job, to be honest, from him, but there's definitely potential still at Norwich. I don't think that you look at the players they've got, I don't think they're a terrible squad. I don't think they should be where they are at the minute in the table. So I think that it's something that can be turned around. But once you have a as bad a start of this, we saw it a couple of years ago when we changed up when we had the bad start under Ainsworth. It doesn't change overnight. It does take a little time to do things, and you know it's going to be difficult. You think this? They'll probably look at the sides that you would have expected to struggle this year, like your Charltons, your Prestons, your Hulls. They're not struggling, so it's got to be concerning for them even at this stage. But saying that, I think they'll get out of it in the end.
Yeah, if Liam Manning struggled though, and he knows the championship well, I do have doubts about what Clement can do despite his pedigree. And losing his first match 4-1, that will have been an eye opener for him.
Mhm.
They come into this match with no win in 11, 8 defeats. They've only scored 6 goals in that run. They haven't won since August. So that's mental baggage after a while, and it will be taking its toll on their performances. And I kind of agree with what you said before. When you watch them, they have some early chances in the games. As soon as they don't score, the other team score, and they're just heads have just gone. You can just see it in the games. That's probably what this match on Saturday might come down to. They've had 7 successive home defeats before a draw with Oxford in midweek, ended that losing streak, but they still haven't won at home. The pressure's on them, Dave, but the alarm bells are ringing from a QPR perspective, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we know what's coming. Let's be honest. We know. They've just sacked the manager. They haven't won at home. I was hoping they'd hang on the last night to that in the Oxford game, but they threw that away as well. Yeah, we know what's coming. Charity Park Rangers are coming into town. This only ends one way, doesn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah, 90 plus 5 Oxford's goal was, and it was literally probably the worst goal that could have been scored because we just know what's going to happen. But we know from ourselves, you said it before, the last 2 seasons, nothing's decided at this stage for Norwich, but you don't want to get too adrift at the bottom, so they will need points soon. I feel for QPR, with us getting 6 points this week, I always hate using the old Harry Redknapp bonus game phrase, but it does feel to me like this is a free hit. We never win there. We're all joking that we're going to lose because of the way they've not won at home, etc. So let's just play with freedom, play on their self-doubt and see what happens. But yeah, it is the ultimate test of Charity Park Rangers. Should say though, they are top half for possession. They've actually been doing quite well in keeping the ball, pass accuracy, etc. But Hull and Blackburn mean our last 11 wins have now all come with less of the ball. So that actually may do us a favour. For QPR, it's the latest occasion where we've played away on a Wednesday and have to travel away again on the Saturday to a team who's played at home and on Tuesday. Can only hope that that'll even out for us in the second half of the season. First question from QPR perspective is, will it be Ben Hamer or Paul Nardi between the sticks?
I think if they were both fully fit, you're probably going to start with Hamer. He's kind of made the choice to put him for make him first choice. But it was a head injury he got tonight. He didn't look in a good way. I'd be surprised if Hamer can play at the weekend. They have these concussion protocols, don't they? It's with it being such a quick turnaround. I think Nardi will probably start the game, and like you just said, with the 2 wins this week, the pressure's off a little bit for this game. It is in a weird, like I think you're right. I think it is in a weird way a free hit. Most people are going there expected to lose this game, even though they're like in terrible form, and you'd think this is a game we should win. We all know QPR. We know how this sort of thing goes, but there is a bit. You feel a bit less pressure going into this one now, because they've got these 2 wins. So maybe it might be different this time.
Yeah, I think with Ben Hamer, he was walking about talking to Steve Cook, I noticed at half time, and then he was sat on the bench. It's whether they've taken it as a concussion sub. If it was, I suppose he'll have to miss the game. If it wasn't, then he could come back in. He was bruised and battered, but he'll probably say he wants to play, but it's whether the club can take that risk, isn't it? In defence, and Benge and Dunn, I think are certainties to play, but he said before, Sam Field, 3 starts at left back, 3 clean sheets. Does he have to keep his place, or is Reece Norrington Davis going to come back in?
I think he'll bring Reece Norrington Davis back in. It looks like for these 3 game weeks, he's not going to play Norrington Davis in all 3. So he tried Escudina in the last one. He's done Samfield in the middle one this time. I think he'll go back to Norrington Davis at left back. I wouldn't expect Field to start this one.
It's hard because I'd honestly be tempted myself to stick with Sam Field. He really can't do much more to keep his place.
No.
I think if it was a home game, I'd be 100% certain Reece Davis was going to come back in. Because it's away, presumably we're going to deploy similar tactics as the recent away games. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did stick with Sam Field. But I think overall, I think most people would expect it to be Reece Davis. The club also confirmed that Jake Clark-Salter, there was nothing up with him. It was just he wasn't intended to ever travel up to Blackburn. Do you expect him to come back in, or do you think they'll save him for the next home game?
I think they might do. I think they might look to give him an hour again, and then they can bring Steve Cook on for the last half hour. Just judging by what they said when the team news come out that he was never planned to start in this one. I think this was done with an eye on him playing Saturday, and then he gets another week off before the next one. I think that's kind of how we'll see him playing for the next few weeks, hopefully. I doubt he's not going to play in all three games in these sort of weeks.
Yeah, definitely not. And it's probably, I mean, it's a good reason we kept Steve Cook this summer when it was a bit of a question
Mm,
mark at the time
yeah.
because he's done well, clean sheet again when he's played. I agree. It'll be 60 minutes, Jake Clark-Salter, I think, and then Steve Cook coming on. In midfield, Varane and Madsen started both games. Are you seeing the prospect of Hayden coming in?
Possibly, but I think one of the changes we've kind of seen with this three game week compared to the other ones is he does seem to have kind of stuck with a nucleus of the team for the first two games. I think he will again for the third. I wouldn't be surprised if them two start again in this one. You have got the option of bringing Hayden in or maybe bringing him in off the bench or even starting Field alongside Madsen. But I think he might go with them two again. I think he might try and keep the core of it. Maybe make a just the odd changes to the team, not make the wholesale ones he's done before.
Yeah, it's exactly what we called for a week ago on the last show. He needed consistency in his selection. We got 2 wins from it, and I agree. And
Yeah,
it's probably what we're saying in a lot of the positions, and he can't make 11 subs, but as many players as possible that he can get an hour out of, like Varane, Madsen seems to be able to do most 90 minutes and just make the changes later on in the game when players are tiring. In the forward line, hard to call every week, slightly different shape at times against Blackburn, sorry, but who takes the four positions in the attacking areas for you?
I think Chair would definitely start. I think he's done well. It was a really good assist tonight, and I thought he was really good at the weekend. So I think he'll probably start on the left. I won't be surprised if he does the same again and tries to play like a number 10 rather than two of them up front for the away game. So maybe Saito is in the middle, and then maybe Paul Smith to start this one after he's come out off the bench. He did so well. Dembele started the last two, so maybe that'll be something he can freshen out with. Um, I'd personally go with Burrell up front, although I do think he's a bit more effective when he's playing with Kone. But I think for this one, I'll just go with him again. Just his pace on the break's a real threat.
Yeah, he's done a lot of running, Roman Borelli. He looked tired after about the hour mark at Blackburn. I was surprised he didn't get taken off. But if he's got anything left in his legs, he needs to start, doesn't he? I think
Yeah.
Chair starts, question marks in the other areas. I thought Saito was dangerous, probably deserved to keep his place. And Paul Smith, probably could argue he's earned himself a start, but I think he'll probably do the same with Dembele starting because he's had his best week, I think, in a QPR shirt this
Yeah,
week.
he's had a good week.
Much improved. So we may actually see no change, and again, it'll just be the subs. Let us know in the comments what you think, because I say in the comments for this match, everyone thought Ryan Coley was going to be involved, and he didn't even get off the bench, which is probably unfortunate because he was very good when he came on against Hull. But that's the amount of options now that the manager has. It's going to be hard every week to predict, and I think that is a good thing as long as he, like Dave has just said, keeps the nucleus of the team. I totally agree on that one. Just leaves your prediction, Dave. Our record at Carrow Road speaks for itself, but can we get our first win there since 2008?
Oh, look, I think this is a banker home win, to be honest, just because it's QPR. The hope I've got is I've been to Norwich 12 times as an away fan, and I've never seen us win, and I'm not going on Saturday. So they've got a chance. There is a chance we could win. I actually think this might be a draw. I think I've got a bit more optimism after the last two games, so I think we'll get a draw. And I can't see us winning there. I can't see us winning three in a row, but maybe I'll go with a draw for this one.
Yeah, all the stats are concerning, but I think the way we perform this week, this is our best chance to get something there, isn't it? If we're ever going to
Yeah,
win there, surely it has to be now. We should be going in there with confidence. I think, I know we say this quite a lot, but it really does feel like it applies here. The first goal, if we can get the first goal, their crowd are going to be so tense and
yeah.
on the team. We need to do that. If we can get that, I think we can win. If they score the first goal, it's then always a long road back. And We do seem to be playing less attacking away from home. So it's over then if we do concede where we can get 2, 3 goals that we maybe need. Let's see. I think overall I'd predict it's even hard sitting here right now, but I think we can win this one 2-1. We've got it in us. And like I say, should be confident and let's see where we end up if we do get a win because the table, as we discussed, is very tight. Let us know your predictions, where you think we'll end up after this game. And as we've said, no midweek match coming up. So Dave and I will return to preview the home match against West Brom later next week, which then does start another 3 game week. December, of course, is full of fixtures. So the action comes thick and fast and stick with us through it all. Thank you for watching, as always, and come on, you R's.